He's a chief officer, best-selling author, impactful speaker and educator, a leadership and team-building specialist dedicated to developing highly effective leaders and teams. Here's Frank Viscuso.
Your job is to make good decisions. That's our job. We have to get good at making good decisions. And in New Jersey, we go through the academy and it's real structured and you do a lot of training and it's a great education, and then you go to your organization, and if you don't have a strong culture within your organization of training, unused skills fade quickly. So there's a lot of complacency within the fire service as a whole. I've heard one person refer to it as a coma of complacency, to where people get comfortable and doing less rather than more. And this is something we need to change. See, self-education is important for almost every profession out there. People go to conferences, people buy books, people educate themselves to become better in their field. Why do we think in the fire service that we should only get as good as the training we get right within our own house, within our own walls? This is something that needs to change. And sometimes, by the way, I do feel like I'm preaching to the choir, because you're here on your own time. So you're here to be educated, and I respect you for that. But this is a message we need to get beyond this room.
And I can tell you that I have failed many times in my life before I had found a way to succeed. And one of the things I realized, once you realize how to succeed in one area of your life, all you have to do is continue to duplicate the same activities you did in one area, and you'll duplicate success in another area. The very first thing is to set your expectations up front. Too many people in leadership positions do not set the expectations. What they do is they fill a position. And I speak to leaders throughout the country all the time, in and out of the fire service. And when we start talking about expectations and clarity, being very clear in what you want to accomplish as a leader of an organization, many times I see that light bulb go off where they say, hey, I have not done that yet. Maybe they're a positional leader. They took the position and they're trying to keep things status quo. That's not leadership. Maybe they don't want to get uncomfortable. That's not leadership. You know what? Leadership is all about getting uncomfortable. I'll propose this to you. If you're not uncomfortable in your role as a leader, then you're not reaching your potential as a leader. Because it's all about getting uncomfortable. That's all I've ever done. So when we talk about setting expectations, the very first thing that I want to encourage you to do is communicate your mission. What is it that we want to accomplish? What do we
How many parents in the room? There's not one parent in this room that's not concerned with who their children hang out with, right? Why do we think it changes for us as an adult? Association's powerful. And make no mistake about it, if you are the talented, most ambitious, most successful person in the room when you're with your team, then you have a weak team. Hopefully you have people that are stronger in areas where you're weak. And then hopefully you're humble enough to say, let me put them in their lane, let them run in their lane and get out of their way.
Four best ways to learn that I've found for our industry anyway: books and videos, seminars, on-the-job training and drills, real-world incidents. Books and videos, why? I once heard somebody say, oh, everybody talks about reading books. You can't throw a book and put out a fire. Yeah, I get that, but you could put out a fire with the knowledge in the book, especially if the knowledge is coming from someone like Vincent Dunn or Anthony Avillo or Mike Turpak or some of the tremendous fire service instructors we have out there. When somebody's giving you 30 years of their life in 300 pages, there's something valuable there. So what are you reading? Seminars. Not just because of what you'll learn from the speaker, but what you're going to learn from each other. Associate with each other. Everybody here should meet people that they don't know. Exchange some cars, exchange some numbers. Training officers. How many training officers do we have in the room? Raise your hand high. Seriously, high. You should all know each other if you don't. Because we happen to be in a profession where we share information, and that's valuable. On-the-job training and drills for reasons we just talked about. People don't want to see you show up at a fire and conduct a drill then. We show up at a fire, we need to look like we've been there before. And we get that through training. And real-world incidents. Now, real-world incidents, that's a tough place to get an education. That's why I have an asterisk next to it, because we can turn that into a post-incident analysis, which we will talk about today, how to conduct a formal and informal PIA, or after-action review, and try to figure out what we did right, what we did wrong, what we could do better. and leave that meeting better than when we came in.
Every success story you've ever heard of has three components. It's the dream, the struggle, and the prize. Most people that aren't successful quit at the struggle. That's when they give up. And that's why they don't achieve the success. Why? Because it's too hard. Guess what? It is hard. Success is hard. That's why we have to work hard to get it. That's why Olympians train every day. That's why great fire service organizations train every day, because success is hard.
How do you influence somebody? Here's how you know when you are influencing them. When your mouth is moving and they're listening, you are influencing them. When you're doing something and the attention is on you, you are influencing them. Your actions speak. Your gestures speak. Your words speak. So what are you doing when you have somebody's attention?
I'm teaching on the West Coast one day for a very large organization, and a very respected leader in that organization comes up to me at the break and he says, I'd like you to do me a favor. I'd like to get one of your books, and I'd like you to give it to the specific lieutenant, and I'd like you to say, I've been told you're one of the finest officers that this organization has ever had. I said, you want me to do that at the break? He goes, no, I want you to do it in front of everybody. We're talking about 150 people in that same organization that has a long-standing great tradition. Sure enough, we come back after the break, and I say, is Lieutenant so-and-so here? And the guy raises his hand. He's sitting right in the center of the room. I said, could you please stand? He stands. I said, I have a gift from you. It's a copy of a book, and it's a gift because I've been told you're one of the finest officers this organization's ever had. His immediate response was this. I didn't know where this was going to go, but I was amazed that not only did everybody in the room direct their attention to him and clap, but he ended up getting a standing ovation, which validates that he truly is one of the finest officers that organization's ever had, because that's not going to happen if he's not. But I thought some great things happened in that moment. One, well, first of all, this officer used secondhand praise to give praise to this young man that's been doing a great job. But one of the things that I thought was phenomenal was that he thinks enough about his members to want to give him that kind of moment in public. The second thing I thought was amazing is that here's a guy that obviously is consistently always doing the right things and maybe struggling to do the right things sometimes. Encountering that resistance, having to have the guts to persist in the face of adversity, all the things that leaders have to encounter, but he's doing it, and he just received validation in front of everybody. But the third thing I thought was this: what did that moment just do for everybody else in the room? Because there's so many people in the room that always want to do the right thing, but sometimes always choose the easy way, always want to fit in with everybody else, want to do the cool thing. Which to me, the cool thing is the right thing. But here's a situation now where I'm sure that there's other people in that room that said, I want a moment like that one day. So be a leader that gives your people moments like that.